Andi Okafor helped a bleeding stranger in an alley after her night shift, because that's what decent people did. She didn't know he was Min Yoonho, the silent one, the man who controlled Koreatown through fear so quiet it felt like gravity. She cleaned his knife wound with stolen hospital supplies, gave him her only bottle of water, and refused the cash he offered. "I didn't help you for payment. I helped because you were bleeding." 3 days later, a black Mercedes appeared outside her shack. Min Yoonho stood at her door, looking at the peeling paint and patched walls, at the life she'd built from nothing, and something in his expression cracked. He'd seen poverty before, caused it, profited from it, weaponized it. But he'd never seen someone living in it while sacrificing everything for someone else. Never met someone who helped him expecting nothing in return. And now that he knew where she lived, how she lived, why she lived this way, he couldn't walk away. Wouldn't walk away, even if it destroyed them both. A woman living in a shack just saved the most dangerous man in Koreatown, and now he knows where she lives. That's either the best thing that ever happened to her, or the beginning of the end. Before we see what happens when a crime boss shows up at a single mother's door, drop your city or country in the comments. I want to see how far this story about survival and obsession is reaching. And if you're someone who loves watching powerful men lose control over women who want nothing from them, subscribe. Because Andi just did something no one does. She refused Min Yoonho's money. That's either brave or suicidal, and you need to see which one it turns out to be. Hit that button right now. Let's go to that alley. 2:47 a.m. Andi's shift at County General had ended 30 minutes ago, but the bus wouldn't come for another 20. She walked the 6 blocks to the stop through streets that smelled like exhaust and old cooking oil, counting dollars in her head. $8.47 to her mother this week, $112 for her own rent, $73 left for food and gas until Friday. The alley shortcut saved 3 minutes. She took it. The man was slumped against a dumpster, dark suit soaked darker with blood. Andi should have kept walking, should have called 911 and disappeared. Instead, she crouched beside him. "Hey," she touched his shoulder. "Can you hear me?" His eyes opened, dark, sharp, calculating even while bleeding out. He assessed her in seconds. Cheap scrubs, worn shoes, hospital ID badge. His hand moved toward his jacket. "I'm not robbing you." Andi pulled medical gloves from her pocket, always carried extras from work. "You're bleeding. Let me see." "Leave." His voice was quiet, accented. Not a request. "You'll die if I leave." She was already lifting his shirt, examining the wound. Knife wound, deep but not hitting organs. Needed stitches, antibiotics, but wouldn't kill him if treated. "This is going to hurt." She pulled alcohol wipes and gauze from her bag, also stolen from the hospital, but they paid her $12 an hour to clean blood off floors. She figured she'd earn some supplies. He didn't make a sound while she cleaned and packed the wound, just watched her with those calculating eyes. When she finished, she pulled off her gloves. "You need a hospital, real one, not my bus stop first aid." "No hospitals." He sat up slowly, testing his movement. "How much?" "For what?" "Your help. Name your price." Andi stood, tossed the bloody gloves in the dumpster. "I didn't help you for money. I helped because you were bleeding and I know how to stop it." She pulled out her water bottle, the only one she'd brought for her whole shift, and set it beside him. "Drink that. Stay hydrated." She turned to leave. "Wait." He was standing now, one hand pressed to his side, pulled out a wallet thick with cash. "Take something, please." "I don't want your money." She met his eyes. "I want you to get proper medical attention and not die in this alley. That's what I want." "Why?" "Because you're a person and you're hurt. She shrugged. That's enough. Your name. She hesitated. Andi. Andi. He repeated it like memorizing it. Thank you. She left him there, caught her bus, and thought nothing of it. Just another bleeding stranger in LA. Just another person she'd helped because she could. She didn't know she'd just saved Min Yoonho, the silent one, the man who made people disappear with a whisper. Didn't know he'd just decided she was the most dangerous person he'd ever met. Because Andi Okafor had looked at him like he was human, had touched him with gentleness, and had wanted nothing in return. And Min Yoonho had no defense against that. 3 days later, Andi came home from her delivery shift to find a black Mercedes parked outside her shack. Wrong neighborhood for that kind of car. Wrong neighborhood for anything that nice. She approached slowly, hand on her phone. The driver's door opened. The man from the alley emerged, looking completely different. Clean suit, styled hair, moving without pain. The wound she'd treated was apparently healing well. He looked at her shack, peeling paint, patched roof, weeds choking the small yard, and something shifted in his expression. You found me. Her voice was flat. How? Your hospital ID badge, Thandiwe Okafor, janitorial staff. He gestured to her door. May I? No. She stayed by the street. What do you want? He pulled an envelope from his jacket, thick, white, expensive. Gratitude. I told you I didn't want money. I know what you told me. He took a step closer. She didn't retreat. But I looked you up, Andi. 3 jobs, daughter who lives with your mother, because you can't afford childcare. You send $800 every month to Riverside while living here. His eyes swept the shack again. You're destroying yourself. Heat flushed her face, shame, anger, both. You had no right to research me. You saved my life. That gives me every right. He held out the envelope. $5,000, take it. No. Why not? Because I know what money from men like you costs. She crossed her arms. You researched me. I researched you too. Min Yoonho. Koreatown businesses, most of them legitimate, some of them not. People call you the silent one because you don't threaten. You just act. You've been linked to 3 murders, but nothing sticks because witnesses disappear. His expression didn't change. And yet, you're not afraid. I'm terrified, but I'm also not stupid enough to take your money. She moved toward her door. Thank you for the offer. Now leave. Andi, leave, Mr. Min. She turned, met his eyes. I helped you because you were bleeding. That's all it was. Don't make it into something else. She went inside before he could respond, locked the door, leaned against it with shaking hands. Through the small window, she watched him stand there for a full minute, envelope still in hand, looking at her shack like it was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Finally, he set the envelope on her doorstep and left. Andi waited until the Mercedes disappeared. Then she opened the door, grabbed the envelope, and counted the money. 5,000, like he'd said. Enough to bring Zuri home for 2 months, enough to fix her car, enough to breathe. She burned it in her kitchen sink. Well, she tried to. The bills were too thick and wouldn't catch properly. She ended up tearing them into pieces and flushing them down the toilet, crying the entire time because she was refusing more money than she'd seen in a year. Her phone rang. Unknown number. You destroyed it. Min Yoonho's voice, quiet surprise. How did you? She looked out the window. He was parked down the street, watching. Are you serious right now? You actually destroyed $5,000. I told you I didn't want it. Silence, then. Nobody refuses me, Andi. Nobody. Then consider this a learning experience. She hung up. The Mercedes didn't move for 3 hours. Andi knew because she checked every 15 minutes, heart hammering each time she saw him still there, watching, waiting, trying to understand the woman who'd rather destroy money than accept it from him. When she finally fell asleep, he was still there. When she woke at 5 a.m. for her hospital shift, he was gone. But Andi knew, she knew, this wasn't over. Min Yoonho didn't sleep. He rarely did, but the past week had been worse than usual. He sat in his office at 3 a.m. reviewing reports on Andi Okafor, trying to understand what he'd missed. Thandiwe Andi Okafor, 29, Nigerian-American. Daughter Zuri, age 6, asthmatic. Father unknown, no contact. Mother in Riverside. 3 jobs: county general janitorial, nights, food delivery service, days, weekend cleaning crew. Total monthly income, $2,140. Expenses, $800 to mother childcare, $300 Zuri's medication, $450 rent on that shack, $200 car insurance, toll, gas, utilities, food. Left her roughly negative $100 every month. She was drowning in slow motion. His phone buzzed. Jin Sang-woo, his driver. She's on break, parking lot behind County General. Yoonho was in his car before he could question why. He parked in the shadows, watched her through the windshield. She sat on a curb under a flickering streetlight, phone pressed to her ear. Even from here he could see her face transform, exhaustion melting into joy. "Hi, baby. Did you have a good day?" Her voice carried in the quiet. "You did. Tell me everything." She listened, laughing at whatever the child said. Yoonho turned up his audio surveillance equipment, legally questionable, but necessary. "I miss you too, Zuri, so much." Andi's voice cracked. "I'll see you this weekend, okay? We'll go to the park, I promise. I love you more than the whole world, baby girl. Sleep good." "Yes, I'm eating enough. Tell Grandma not to worry." "Okay, love you. Bye." She hung up, sat there staring at her phone. Then she put her face in her hands and cried. Not dramatic sobs. Quiet, exhausted crying. The kind that came from someone who'd been holding it together too long with no one watching. Yoonho's chest tightened, an unfamiliar sensation. He'd seen people cry before, had caused it frequently. But this was different. This was someone breaking alone because she had no choice. She wiped her face, stood, went back, inside to clean other people's messes for $12 an hour. Yoonho made 3 calls. First, "I need information on childcare facilities near Riverside, best ones." Second, "County General, Janitorial Department, find out who decides raises." Third, "The medication, Zuri Okafor's asthma prescriptions, I want them covered, quietly." Jin spoke from the driver's seat. "Sir, she refused your money." "She won't know it's from me." Yoonho was still watching the hospital doors. "She thinks everything has to be earned, so we'll make it look earned." "That's still helping her." "No, that's ensuring she doesn't die of exhaustion before I figure out why I can't stop thinking about her." The next morning, Andi's pharmacy called. "Ms. Okafor, your daughter's prescriptions. There's been an error in our system. Looks like you've been overcharged for 6 months. We're issuing a refund and crediting your account. The next 6 months are covered." Andi's hand shook while holding the phone. "That's... Are you sure?" "Absolutely. Our mistake. We apologize." She hung up, stared at nothing. $1,800 suddenly back in her life. 6 months without that $300 of monthly stress. Her phone rang. Unknown number. "You did this." Not a question. Yoonho didn't lie. "Yes. I told you. You told me not to give you money. I didn't. The pharmacy made an error." His voice was silk smooth. "These things happen." "Bullshit." "Prove it," he paused. "Or accept that sometimes the universe gives you a break, Andi. Sometimes things work out." "Things don't work out for people like me. Not without strings." "No strings. Just a pharmacy error that benefits you and your daughter. He let that sink in. You can refuse a gift from me. But can you refuse one from the universe? Can you refuse something that helps Zuri? Silence. He'd found the crack in her armor. I hate you, she whispered. I know. He smiled despite himself. But you're going to keep the money, because you're not prideful enough to hurt your daughter to prove a point. She hung up on him. But she kept the money. And Yoonho kept watching, kept digging, kept trying to understand the woman who would rather burn cash than accept help from him. The woman who was slowly, dangerously becoming the only thing that mattered. He just manipulated her into accepting help by disguising it as a pharmacy error, and she knows it. She hates him for it. But she kept the money anyway, because her daughter needs medication more than she needs pride. That's the trap closing. Here's what's wild. You're watching a crime boss systematically break down a single mother's defenses, and some of you still haven't subscribed. You're 3 chapters into watching him study her, stalk her, manipulate systems to help her, and you're gambling on whether you see what he does next. Subscribe right now. Because when Detective Chen shows up in the next chapter with crime scene, photos and threats about CPS, you need to see how Andi handles being trapped between a cop and a criminal. Hit that button. Andi's rent was paid. She discovered it when her landlord called, confused. Someone paid your account through the end of the year. Cash. You have a rich uncle or something? Her car, broken down for 3 weeks, was fixed. The mechanic claimed someone had prepaid repairs months ago and just now got around to it. Her delivery app account showed a mysterious $500 bonus for excellent service ratings. She knew. She fucking knew. The restaurant was called Hanul, nestled in the heart of Koreatown. Expensive, exclusive, the kind of place Andi had never set foot in. She walked in wearing her delivery uniform, and the hostess's face went from welcoming to confused to alarmed. I'm here to see Min Yoonho, Andi said, voice steady despite her shaking hands. The hostess reached for the phone. Do you have an appointment? Tell him Andi's here. He'll see me. 2 minutes later, she was being led to a private room. Yoonho sat alone at a traditional low table, tea service in front of him. He looked up when she entered, and something like relief crossed his face before his control snapped back. Andi, stop. She didn't sit. Whatever you're doing, stop it. Would you like tea? I want you to stop interfering in my life. Her voice rose. My rent, my car, the bonus that doesn't exist. Stop. Sit, please. No, answer me. Why are you doing this? Yoonho stood slowly, moving around the table. Because you need help. I don't need your help. I don't need help from someone like you. Someone like me. His voice went quiet. Dangerous quiet. Say it clearly, Andi. What am I? A criminal, a gangster, someone who hurts people for profit. She was shaking now, but wouldn't back down. I helped you because you were bleeding. That doesn't mean I want to be part of your world. That doesn't give you the right to invade mine. I'm not invading. I'm helping. You're controlling. There's a difference. She stepped closer, anger overriding fear. You researched me without permission. You're paying my bills without asking. You're making decisions about my life like I'm some project you've decided to fix. That's not help. That's ownership. His jaw tightened. I don't want to own you. Then what do you want? I don't know. The admission exploded out of him, the first crack in his control. I don't know what this is. I just know that since you touched me in that alley, since you looked at me like I was worth saving, I can't stop thinking about you. Can't stop seeing you cry on that curb. Can't stop wanting to fix things so you don't have to work yourself to death for scraps. That's not your responsibility. I'm making it My responsibility. He moved closer, and she caught his scent, cedar and something darker. You saved my life, Andi. In my world, that creates a debt. I don't want your debt. Too bad. You have it anyway. His voice dropped lower. And I'm going to keep helping you whether you want it or not. I'll make it look like coincidence, like luck, like the universe finally giving you a break. But it'll be me. Always me. Why? Her voice cracked. Why me? You could have anyone, you could… Because you looked at me like I was human. The words came out raw, unfiltered. Because in 15 years of this life, no one has ever touched me the way you did in that alley. Gentle. Like you cared whether I lived or died for reasons that had nothing to do with money or power or fear. His hand lifted toward her face, but stopped, hovering. Because you wanted nothing from me, Andi. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know what it's like to have someone help you just because you're bleeding? Tears burned her eyes. You can't just decide I'm yours to protect. Watch me. I'm not a project. I'm not something you fix to feel better about yourself. You're not a project. His hand finally touched her face, thumb catching a tear. You're the first person in 15 years who made me feel like maybe I'm not completely lost. She should pull away, should run, should remember that this man was dangerous, that his world would destroy hers, that accepting anything from him was accepting everything. Instead, she leaned into his palm. This is a mistake, she whispered. Probably. His forehead touched hers. But I'm done pretending I can walk away. I'm still angry. Be angry, just don't disappear. His voice held something desperate. I can handle your anger. I can't handle not knowing if you're safe. Andi closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of his hand against her face, knowing she was standing on the edge of something that would change everything. One condition, she said finally. Anything. No more secrets, no more mysterious help that appears from nowhere. If you're going to be in my life, be in it honestly. I need to know what I'm accepting. Agreed. He pulled back to meet her eyes. But you need to understand what honesty means, what I am, what I do. I know what you are. You know the rumors. His expression hardened. But if you want the truth, Andi, I'll give you the truth. All of it. Even the parts that make you run. She should run now. Should walk out before hearing things that couldn't be unheard. Instead, tell me. Detective Sarah Chen appeared during Andi's lunch break, sliding into the passenger seat of her car before Andi could lock the door. Jesus! Andi's hand flew to her chest. Who? Detective Chen, LAPD. She flashed a badge. We need to talk about Min Yoonho. Andi's stomach dropped. I don't know anyone by that name. Don't insult my intelligence. Chen pulled out a tablet, swiped through photos, crime scenes, bodies, evidence tags. Min Yoonho, age 36, suspected in 14 murders, countless assaults, racketeering, extortion. He controls 40% of Koreatown's underground economy. She looked up. And 3 weeks ago, you saved his life in an alley. I helped someone who was bleeding. I didn't know. You know now. Chen swiped again. More photos. These of Andi. Entering Hanul restaurant. Yoonho's Mercedes outside her shack. Her with Yoonho in the restaurant's private room. He's been to your home. You've been to his territory. Your rent was mysteriously paid. Your car was fixed. Should I continue? Andi's throat closed. How long have you been watching me? Long enough to know you're in over your head. Chen's voice softened slightly. I don't think you're complicit. I think you made one good choice, helping an injured person. And now you're trapped. Men like Yoonho don't let go once they've decided they want something. He hasn't asked me for anything. Yet. Chen leaned closer. But he will, and when he does, you'll become an accessory. Everything he's paid for, every benefit you've accepted, it builds a paper trail that ties you to his organization. If I arrest him, you go down too. I'm not involved in his business. The law won't care. Chen pulled out more photos. My sister was 23. Wrong place, wrong time. A gang dispute in Koreatown escalated. She died in the crossfire. Yoonho's organization, his territory, his responsibility. Her voice cracked. She was studying to be a teacher, had a fiancé, had a future. Now, she's buried in forest lawn because men like Min Yoonho treat human lives like collateral damage. Andi felt sick. I'm sorry. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you so you understand what he is. Chen swiped to photos of a little girl. This is your daughter, Zuri, age 6, lives with your mother in Riverside, attends Jefferson Elementary, has asthma, sees Dr. Martinez monthly. Fear spiked through Andi. Don't you dare! I'm not threatening her. I'm showing you that I've done my homework, just like Yoonho did his. Chen's eyes were hard. Child Protective Services takes children from mothers who associate with gang members. You work 3 jobs, barely see your daughter, live in a shack, and now you're connected to the most dangerous man in Koreatown. How do you think that looks? You can't take my daughter. I don't want to, but if you stay connected to Yoonho, someone will. Maybe CPS. Maybe his enemies using her as leverage. Maybe... Stop. Andi's voice shook. What do you want from me? Help me build a case. Testify. Tell me what you've seen, what he's said, where he goes. Wear a wire if necessary. Chen pulled out a card. Help me put him away and I'll protect you. New identity if needed. Relocation assistance. Your daughter stays with you. Safe. And if I don't? Then you're on your own when his world collapses around you. Chen opened the car door. Think about it, but think fast. I'm close to making arrests, and when I do, everyone near him goes down, including you. She left. Andi sat in her car, shaking, staring at the business card. Her phone buzzed. Yoonho. Are you all right? Jin said a woman approached you. Of course he was still watching. She didn't respond. Couldn't. Because Detective Chen was right about one thing. Accepting Yoonho's help had made her visible. And visibility in his world was dangerous. That night, Andi called her mother. I need you to do something for me. Don't ask why. If anyone comes asking about Zuri, anyone you don't know, you call me immediately. Keep her close. Be careful. Andi, what's wrong? Nothing, just... Please, promise me. I promise. Baby, you're scaring me. I'm scared too, Mama. Andi looked at her shack, at Yoonho's card on her table, at Detective Chen's card beside it. 2 choices. 2 different kinds of dangerous. I'm so scared. But she didn't know which danger was worse. The cop who wanted to save her by destroying the man she was falling for, or the criminal who wanted to protect her by pulling her deeper into his world. She fell asleep with both cards on her nightstand, knowing that choosing either one would change everything. And not choosing wasn't an option anymore. Andi just got caught between a detective who wants to save her and a crime boss who wants to keep her. Detective Chen showed her the bodies, threatened CPS, and offered witness protection. Yoonho is still watching, still helping, still pulling her deeper. And Andi has to choose. Now here's what kills me. You're watching a woman trapped between 2 impossible choices, and you haven't subscribed yet? You're invested enough to feel the tension, but not committed enough to guarantee you see what she chooses. That's madness. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what happens when she makes her choice will either save her or destroy her. And you need to see which one. Stop gambling. Subscribe. Andi avoided Yoonho for 2 weeks, changed her routines, took different routes, blocked his number. He respected the distance. No more mysterious help, no more Mercedes outside her shack. Just silence. But she felt him watching, felt the weight of eyes she couldn't see. His protection hadn't disappeared. It had just gone invisible. She worked herself harder, picked up extra shifts, extra deliveries, anything to stay busy and not think about the choice she was avoiding. Detective Chen called twice. Andi didn't answer. Then her mother called at 3 a.m. "Andi, I need to ask you for something." Her voice was tight. "I hate asking, but the medical bills. My insurance didn't cover everything. I need $2,000 for the cardiologist. I wouldn't ask if—" "Mama, it's okay." Andi's mind raced. She had $340 in her account. Payday was 6 days away. "I'll figure it out." "Baby, if you don't have it." "I have it. I'll send it tomorrow." She hung up and stared at the ceiling of her shack. $2,000 might as well be $2 million. She could ask Yoonho. One text and the money would appear. But accepting it meant choosing him over Chen, meant admitting she was already too deep to climb out. She pulled up her phone, started typing to Yoonho, then deleted it. Typed again, deleted again. At 3:47 a.m., her phone rang. Yoonho. She answered before thinking. "How did you—" "Jin saw you leave the hospital early. You looked distressed." His voice was careful, controlled. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Everything. I don't know." She was so tired. "Why can't you just leave me alone?" "Because I tried that for 2 weeks and it was the worst 2 weeks of my life." Silence. "Talk to me, Andi, please. My mother needs money, medical bills, and I don't have it." The words spilled out. "And I know if I ask you, you'll give it to me. But accepting it means choosing you. Means I'm complicit. Means Detective Chen was right about me being trapped." "How much?" "Don't." "How much, Andi?" $2,000. Her voice cracked. "And before you offer, I'm not taking it. I'll figure something out." "What will you figure out? Another credit card you can't pay off? A loan shark who will charge 50% interest?" His control slipped. "Let me help. No strings, no debt, no—" "There are always strings with you." She sat up. "You can't help without making me dependent. You can't give without taking something in return, even if it's just my peace of mind." "What do you want from me?" His voice turned raw. "Tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it." "You want distance? I gave you 2 weeks. You want honesty? I've been honest. You want me to leave you alone?" "I can't. I physically cannot stop thinking about whether you're safe, whether you're eating, whether you're drowning in that shack while working yourself to death. I want you to let me handle my own life, even when handling it is killing you." Silence stretched between them. Andi closed her eyes. "The money will be in your mother's account by morning," Yoonho said quietly. "Medical bills paid directly. She'll never know it came from me. You can be angry about it. You can hate me for it. But I'm not letting your mother suffer because you're too proud to accept help." "Yoonho, I love you." The words landed like a bomb. "I'm in love with you, Andi. Have been since you gave me your only water bottle in that alley. Since you destroyed $5,000 rather than accept it from me. Since you looked at me like I was worth saving when everyone else wishes I was dead." His voice dropped to a whisper. "So yes, I'm going to help your mother. I'm going to make sure you don't collapse from exhaustion. I'm going to protect you even when you don't want it. Because that's what you do when you love someone." Andi couldn't breathe. "You don't love me. You barely know me. I know you count every dollar out loud. I know you cry after talking to your daughter because you miss her so much. It physically hurts. I know you'd rather burn money than compromise your principles. I know you're the strongest, most stubborn, most impossible woman I've ever met. Pause. And I know that loving you is going to destroy me, but I don't care anymore. This is insane. Completely. She could hear his smile. But I'm done pretending otherwise. The money will be there in the morning. Hate me for it if you need to. Just don't disappear. He hung up before she could respond. At 8 a.m., her mother called. Andi, the strangest thing happened. The hospital called, said there was a billing error, they overcharged me. Everything's covered now, isn't that lucky? Yeah, Mama. Andi stared at Yoonho's blocked number on her phone. So lucky. She unblocked him, typed, I don't hate you. His response came immediately. That's a start, another text. But I'm terrified of you. Me too. Of you, I mean. You terrify me in ways I didn't know were possible. She stared at his words, feeling the walls she'd built crumbling. She should run. Should choose Detective Chen and safety and the right side of the law. Instead, she typed, Can I see you? I'm outside. Of course he was. Andi opened her door to find him leaning against his Mercedes, looking exhausted and hopeful and dangerous all at once. You said you love me, she said. I do. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Probably. He didn't move. But it's true anyway. Andi walked down her steps, crossed the dirt yard and stopped in front of him. I'm still angry about the money. I know. And I'm still scared of what you are. I know. And this is still insane. I know. He reached for her hand and she let him take it. But you're here anyway. I'm here anyway, she whispered. And for the first time in 2 weeks, Andi stopped running. 3 days after Andi stopped running, her life started falling apart. First, County General called. Ms. Okafor, we're letting you go. Budget cuts, effective immediately. Then the delivery app. Your account has been flagged for policy violations. You're deactivated pending investigation. Then her weekend cleaning service. The client complained. We have to let you go. 3 jobs gone in 6 hours. Andi sat in her car outside the hospital, phone in shaking hands, doing math that didn't work. 0 income. Rent due in 12 days. Her mother's support payment due in 8. She called Yoonho. Someone's destroying my life, she said without preamble. All 3 jobs, gone, in 1 day. Where are you? His voice went cold, the dangerous cold she'd heard in the alley. County General parking lot. Stay there, I'm coming. He hung up. 20 minutes later, the Mercedes pulled up. Yoonho emerged with Jin, both moving with coiled tension. He slid into her passenger seat, and she saw something in his eyes that made her stomach drop. This is Kwak Dae-sung, he said quietly. My former partner. 5 years ago, I took the organization from him, forced him out. He's been waiting for an opening ever since. Why me? Because he's smart enough to know that hitting me directly fails. But hitting you, his jaw clenched. That makes me look weak, makes my men question my judgment, proves that caring about someone is a liability. So this is my fault. This is my fault. He turned to face her fully. I brought you into this. I made you visible, and now Kwak is using you as a weapon against me. What does he want? Territory, power, revenge. Yoonho's hand found hers. And to prove that I've gone soft, that the silent one has a weakness he can exploit. Then maybe I should... Andi couldn't finish, couldn't say leave. No. His grip tightened. You're not running, neither am I. Jin spoke from outside. Sejangnim, we have a location. Kwak's at the warehouse in Vernon. He's waiting. Yoonho nodded, then looked at Andi. I need to handle this. Jin will take you somewhere safe. No, she surprised herself. If this is about me, I'm coming. Absolutely not. He destroyed my life to get to you. I deserve to see you finish this. Her voice steadied. Besides, you said honesty. You said you'd show me what you are, so show me. Something flickered in his eyes. Respect, maybe, or fear. You don't want to see this, Andi. I need to see it. I need to know what I'm choosing. She met his gaze. All of it, not the sanitized version, the truth. He studied her for a long moment. Then, Jin, she comes, but she stays in the car. No exceptions. The warehouse was exactly what she expected. Industrial, isolated, the kind of place where bad things happened and no one heard. 4 cars were already there. Yoonho's men, she realized. He'd called them en route. Jin parked at a distance. Through the windshield, Andi watched Yoonho approach the warehouse doors, watched them open, watched him disappear inside. What's going to happen? She asked Jin. Negotiations, probably. He didn't sound convinced. 5 minutes passed. 10. Then she heard it, a gunshot. Muffled but unmistakable. Stay in the car, Jin commanded, hand already on his weapon, running toward the building. Andi should have listened, should have stayed. Instead, she followed. Inside was chaos. Yoonho's men had weapons drawn. Kwak's men were backing toward a side exit. And in the center, Yoonho stood over a man on the ground, not Kwak, one of his enforcers, blood pooling beneath him. Yoonho's hand held a gun, steady and cold. The next person who moves dies, he said quietly. Not a threat. A fact. Kwak emerged from the shadows, older, scarred, with eyes that calculated everything. He saw Andi and smiled. There she is, the woman who broke the silent one. He spoke in English for her benefit. Pretty thing. I can see why you'd lose focus. This ends now, Yoonho said. You leave her alone. You leave my organization alone, or what? You'll kill me? Kwak laughed. In front of your woman? Show her what you really are. That's a bold move. Andi stepped forward before she could think. I know what he is. Everyone turned. Yoonho's face went white. Andi, get out. I know what he is, she repeated louder. I'm not some naive woman who stumbled into this blind. I know exactly who Min Yoonho is, what he's done, what he's capable of. She looked at Kwak. And I'm choosing him anyway. So if your plan was to scare me away by destroying my life, you failed. All you did was make me angrier. Brave words. Kwak pulled out a gun, pointed it at her. Let's see how brave. Yoonho moved faster than thought. 1 shot. Kwak dropped, gun clattering. Not dead. Yoonho's bullet hit his shoulder, but incapacitated. Touch her again, Yoonho said, voice like winter. And shoulder wounds become head wounds. Are we clear? Kwak nodded through pain. Get him out. Yoonho's men moved immediately, dragging Kwak and his crew out. To the hospital, Andi hoped. Though part of her didn't care. When they were alone, Yoonho turned to her. His hands were shaking, the first time she'd seen him truly rattled. You could have died, he said hoarsely. He had a gun pointed at you and you shot him before he could fire. She crossed to him, took the gun from his hand, set it aside. I'm okay. You're not okay, neither am I. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. I've never been more terrified in my life. Good. She held him back. Now we're even. They stood like that, surrounded by blood and choices that couldn't be unmade, knowing that everything had just changed. Andi had seen his violence, had walked into his world fully, had chosen him in front of his enemies. There was no going back now. She just stood in front of a loaded gun and declared she's choosing him anyway. Yoonho shot a man to protect her. She watched it happen, watched him become exactly what everyone warned her about. And she didn't run. That's the moment everything became real. No more pretending, no more distance. She's in his world now, blood and all. And here's what's insane. Some of you are watching this transformation, feeling every moment of tension and still haven't subscribed. You just watched her choose a criminal over safety, and you're gambling on whether you see what happens next. Subscribe right now, because the aftermath of this choice, the consequences, the falling, the point of no return, you cannot miss it. Hit that button. Yoonho took her to his penthouse, not her shack. "You're not safe there anymore," he said. "Not until I'm certain Kwak's people have backed down." The penthouse was everything her shack wasn't. Space, light, luxury that felt obscene after what they'd just witnessed. Andi stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking at a city she barely recognized from this height. "I need to call my mother," she said quietly. "Tell her to be careful, in case—" "Already done. I have 2 men watching your mother's house. Zuri is safe." He poured whiskey with hands that had finally stopped shaking. "I won't let Kwak near your family." "You shot him?" "I did." No apology, no justification, just fact. "You would have killed him if he'd pulled that trigger." Without hesitation. Yoonho drank, set down the glass. "Does that change things?" Andi turned from the window. "I don't know. Should it?" Most people would say yes. He moved closer but didn't touch her. "You just watched me shoot a man. Saw what I'm capable of when someone threatens what's mine. You should be terrified." "I am terrified." Her voice shook. "But not of you. I'm terrified of how much I'm not running, how much I meant what I said in that warehouse." She met his eyes. "I'm terrified because I love you. And loving you means accepting all of this." Yoonho went completely still. "Say that again." "I love you." The words came easier the second time. "I've been fighting it for weeks, telling myself it's impossible, that we're from different worlds, that this can only end badly. But I walked into that warehouse knowing I might die, and all I could think was that I'd rather die choosing you than live running from you." He closed the distance between them in 2 strides, hands framing her face. "You love me. I'm an idiot, but yes. You're the smartest woman I've ever met." His forehead touched hers. "And you're absolutely insane for loving me." "Probably." She grabbed his wrists, holding his hands against her face. "But I'm tired of pretending I can walk away. I'm tired of counting every interaction, weighing every moment, trying to stay separate from your world. I'm already in it. Have been since that alley." "Andi!" "Let me finish." She pulled back to look at him. "I need you to understand something. I'm not naive. I know what you do. I know people have died because of your orders. I know your money comes from places I don't want to think about. And I know that choosing you means compromising principles I thought were non-negotiable." "Then why?" "Because you're also the man who paid my mother's medical bills and called it a billing error, who respects when I say no even when it destroys you, who put guards on my daughter without me asking, who looked at my shack and didn't see trash to be avoided. You saw someone worth protecting." Her voice cracked. "You're a criminal and a killer, but you're also the first person in 10 years who made me feel like maybe I deserve something more than just survival." Yoonho's thumb brushed away tears she hadn't realized were falling. "You deserve everything." "I don't want everything. I want you." She kissed him, not gentle, not questioning, claiming. "I want this, whatever this is, however broken and impossible and wrong it might be." He kissed her back with controlled desperation, hands sliding into her hair, pulling her closer like she might disappear. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against hers. "I don't deserve you," he whispered. "Stop saying that." She grabbed his shirt. "I'm not some prize you won or treasure you don't deserve. I'm a woman who's choosing you with full knowledge of who you are. That's not charity. That's not delusion. That's love. Then stay with me." His voice went rough. "Not just tonight. Stay. Move in here. Let me take care of you properly. Let me—" "I can't leave my shack. It's all I have." "You have me now." His hands cupped her face. "Everything I own is yours. This penthouse, my money, my protection, all of it. You'll never work 3 jobs again. Never count dollars on a curb. Never cry alone because you miss your daughter." Yoonho. "I'll bring Zuri here. Set up a room for her. Hire the best tutors, the best doctors. You can see her every day instead of weekends. You can be her mother instead of just providing for her from a distance." His eyes held desperate hope. "Let me give you that. Please." Andi's throat closed. That's too much. It's not enough. It'll never be enough." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "But it's what I have to offer. My world, my life, my everything. Broken and blood-stained and dangerous, but yours if you want it." She should think about this. Should consider consequences. Weigh options, be practical. Instead, "I want it. I want you. I want all of it." His smile was devastating. Relief and joy and love wrapped into something that transformed his face completely. "You're sure?" "No, but I'm choosing you anyway." "That's all I need." He lifted her and she wrapped around him, letting him carry her toward the bedroom. "I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you don't regret this." "You can't promise that." "Watch me try." That night, in his bed, wrapped in his arms with the city glittering below, Andi made a choice that couldn't be unmade. She chose love over safety, chose him over everything that made sense. And when Detective Chen called at 2 a.m., Andi let it ring. She'd made her choice. For better or worse, she was his now, and he was hers, completely, irrevocably, forever. 8 months later, Andi woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, and the sound of her daughter's laughter echoing from the kitchen. She found Yoonho making pancakes, badly, while Zuri supervised from a stool, correcting his technique with 6-year-old authority. "No, Mr. Min, you have to flip it before it burns." "I'm trying." He glanced up, saw Andi, and his expression softened. "Good morning." "Morning." She kissed Zuri's head, then his cheek, marveling at how normal this felt. How right. The penthouse had transformed. Zuri's artwork covered the refrigerator. Her backpack hung by the door. Her nebulizer sat on the counter, medication always within reach. No more $300 monthly panic. No more choosing between breathing treatments and rent. Andi had one job now. Manager of Yoonho's legitimate holding company. $85,000 a year, full benefits, reasonable hours. She saw Zuri every morning, every night, helped with homework, read bedtime stories. She was a mother, again, not just a provider. "Mama, can I show Mr. Min my science project later?" "Of course, baby." Andi poured coffee. "But you need to eat breakfast first." Zuri dove into pancakes while Yoonho moved beside Andi, voice low. "Detective Chen called my lawyer yesterday, 4th time this month." "What does she want?" "The same thing. Testimony. A case." His hand found the small of her back. "She's not giving up." "Let her call." Andi met his eyes. "I made my choice." "No regrets?" "Every day." She smiled at his expression. "But I'd make the same choice again. Every single time." He kissed her, soft and lingering, until Zuri made gagging sounds. Gross, adults are so weird. Later, after dropping Zuri at her new private school, full scholarship that Yoonho had arranged through legitimate channels, Andi and Yoonho sat in his office. "Kwak's been quiet," she said. "Too quiet. He's regrouping, building alliances." Yoonho's jaw tightened. "It's not over. It won't be over until one of us is gone." "Then end it." She surprised herself with the words. "I'm not asking you to kill him, but end it. However you need to." He studied her. "You've changed. You've changed me." She leaned back. 8 months ago, I would have told you violence is never the answer. Now, I have a daughter sleeping safely because you put fear into the right people. I have a life because you removed obstacles. That's not pretty, but it's real. You're not who you were in that alley. Neither are you. She reached for his hand. You've transitioned half your operations legitimate. You've funded 3 community programs in Koreatown. You're trying. Because you asked me to. Because you wanted to. I just gave you permission. She squeezed his fingers. We're both different now. Better or worse, I don't know. But different. Her phone buzzed. Her mother. Andi, someone from social services, came by asking questions about Zuri's living situation. Her blood went cold. "When?" "An hour ago," said it, was routine. But baby, it didn't feel routine. Andi looked at Yoonho. "Chen's making moves, using CPS as pressure." His expression went arctic. "I'll handle it." "How?" "Do you want to know?" She thought about it. 8 months ago, she demanded honesty. Now? No, just make it stop. He nodded, already dialing. The conversation was rapid Korean, tone absolutely lethal. When he hung up, he turned back to her. "It's done. The social worker will find her investigation suddenly reassigned. Chen will get a call from her captain about harassment, and your mother will never be bothered again." Just like that. Just like that. He pulled her close. "No one threatens our family. Not Chen, not Kwak, not anyone. Our family." The words settled in her chest, warm and terrifying. That weekend, Zuri asked the question Andi had been dreading. "Mama, is Mr. Min going to be my daddy?" They were on the penthouse balcony, Andi, Yoonho, Zuri between them. The city sprawled below, golden in sunset, light. "Would you want that?" Andi asked carefully. "Yeah." Zuri looked at Yoonho. "He makes you smile, and he helps with my homework even though he's bad at math. And he doesn't leave." The last words hit hard. Her biological father's abandonment, still shaping her at 6 years old. Yoonho crouched to Zuri's level. "I'm not leaving, not ever. That's a promise. Pinky promise." He linked his pinky with hers, solemn as a blood oath. "Pinky promise." Zuri grinned, satisfied, and ran inside to watch cartoons. Alone with Andi, Yoonho stayed crouched, then shifted to one knee. "What are you—" He pulled out a small box. "I was going to plan something elaborate, flowers, music, the whole romantic production." He opened it, revealing a simple diamond ring. "But your daughter just gave me permission, and I'm not wasting another second." Andi's breath stopped. "Marry me, Andi. Not because it makes sense, not because our worlds fit, but because I love you more than I've ever loved anything. Because you looked at me in an alley and saw someone worth saving. Because you walked into my violence and didn't run. Because you gave me a family when I thought I'd die alone." His voice cracked. "Marry me and let me spend the rest of my life proving you didn't make a mistake." "I made so many mistakes." She was crying now. "Falling for you was a mistake. Moving in was a mistake. Letting you into my daughter's life was a mistake." "Is that a no?" "That's a yes, you idiot." She pulled him up, kissed him hard. "Yes. Yes to all of it." The mistakes, the danger, the impossible love story. Yes. He slid the ring on her finger and it fit perfectly, like everything about them that shouldn't work, but somehow did. Later, with Zuri asleep in her room down the hall, Andi stood by those floor-to-ceiling windows, looking at the city that had tried to break her. Yoonho wrapped arms around her from behind. Regrets? Too many to count. She leaned into him. But not about you. Never about you. Good. He kissed her temple. Because you're stuck with me now. Officially. She turned in his arms, looking at the man who'd been bleeding in an alley 8 months ago. The criminal. The killer. The impossible love. I wouldn't want to be stuck with anyone else. Outside, Seoul, no, Los Angeles, glittered with possibility. Detective Chen would keep building her case. Quack would keep circling. The world would keep being dangerous. But inside, Andi had everything she'd fought for. Her daughter sleeping safely, a man who'd burn the world for them, and a life built from blood and choices and stubborn, impossible love. She'd helped a stranger in an alley because that's what decent people did. He'd shown up at her shack because he couldn't stay away. And somehow, impossibly, they'd built a family from that foundation. Not perfect, never perfect, but theirs, completely, irrevocably, forever theirs. From a bleeding stranger in an alley to a family built on impossible love. From a woman who had $47 and 3 jobs to a woman who has everything she fought for. Min Yoonho showed up at Andi's shack and changed her entire life. Not by saving her, by loving her enough to let her choose him with full knowledge of who he was. That's the story. From survival to family. From fear to love. From that shack to this life. If this story moved you, if you felt Andi's choice, if you understood why she said yes despite everything, then subscribe. Because this channel is building something. Stories where black women don't just survive the storm, they rebuild the entire sky. Where powerful men don't just protect them, they transform for them. You want more of that? Hit subscribe right now. Drop a comment telling me which moment hit hardest, and I'll see you in the next story, where another dangerous man is about to meet the woman who'll change everything.